having produced a paper. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whereas other universities, other jurisdictions like in Scandinavia or certainly in North America, would use fractional counting. So if you have 10 co-authors, you really only get 0.1 credit for that. So it depends what your jurisdiction is.
Okay, excellent. In the interest of time, we will move on, but Jeff, that was fabulous, and I'll definitely be rewatching it when we post it.
Got a bit of a head scratcher there. Some of the...
No, it was an excellent talk. Okay, so for our last session for today, we have Emily Hart, Brenna Helmstutler, Anita Kuiken, and Stephanie McReynolds, who will be presenting. Emily Hart is the Science Librarian and Research Impact Lead at Syracuse University Libraries. Brenna Helmstutler is also librarian for the School of Information Studies, Research and Scholarship at Syracuse. Anita Kuiken, library for Falk College, Research and Scholarship, as well as Stephanie McReynolds, librarian for Business, Management, and Entrepreneurship, each from Syracuse University Libraries. Their talk today will be Building a Research Impact Team, Championing the Role of Liaison Libraries. Please. Take it away.
Hi, sorry, could you guys just let me know which of you will be sharing the presentation today?
Yes, this is Brenna. I'll be sharing.
Okay, you should have presenters right now. We're just seeing the other side of your screen, so if you mind going to display settings, you should be able to swap displays.
Okay. Sure. There we go.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks, Brenna. It looks good. Thanks everybody thanks for hosting us today. We're really excited to be here. So I'm going to start off our presentation and then pass off to my colleagues, and we're all going to talk a little bit about our development of our team. Okay, Emily Hart, the Science Librarian and Research Impact Lead at Syracuse University Libraries. I'm excited to be joined by members of the Research Impact team to tell you the story of how our new team came to be. We'll also share some of what we've been doing, some things we've learned along the way, where we plan to go in the future, and a quick history of important changes that happened at the libraries and the university that led to the creation of our team. Next slide, please. Before we get started, we wanted to say a big thank you to Brick and all the organizers for hosting the conference. And we're really excited to be learning this week from some of the best in the field. And to have also the opportunity to share our story. We think that our presentation will be especially relevant to those who are just getting started in research impact and bibliometrics, for anyone who's interested in forming a research impact team or launching new services, and for those interested in capitalizing on subject librarian relationships and expertise. And I'll just say we've attended a couple of the like Brick related, Waterloo related events, and we feel that we are newcomers to the field, but we have quite a bit of expertise in research impact areas. So we're hoping that we can kind of offer something that's relevant to the newcomers. So anyway, next slide, please. So to get started, here's a little bit of background about recent changes at our university and in the libraries. So the development of our team came about in direct response to a university-wide push to advance the research mission and reputation of the institution. In 2015, we received Carnegie R1 status, and this change has led to reinvigorated efforts around campus and helped us work towards establishing ourselves as a top-tier research institution. One really important move was the development of an Associate Dean's Research Leadership Group. And there were some ADR positions already in existence across campus. And several of those positions were created and some were renamed so that they aligned with this peer group. And this includes the Associate Dean for Research and Scholarship in the Libraries, which was, I think the position was sort of there before, but it was newly renamed. So then we aligned with our peer group better, which was a big deal. And this group has been really important in improving communication about research activities and initiatives on campus. Other initiatives included the development of interdisciplinary research clusters across campus. This brought in new faculty, grad students, and postdocs, and the establishment of a competitive internal grant program where applicants can use the money for seed projects and research improvement. And the ultimate goal being that SU Reachers get this internal funding so that they can be more competitive externally and bring in those, bring in that grant funding. Next slide, please. Okay, so with these big changes, the library also, I think, responded in a big way. So over the last few years, the libraries responded to the changes by developing new services and then also reinvigorating some of the things that were existing to better support researchers. Members of the research impact team, other subject librarians, and staff from across the libraries have been involved with these initiatives for several years. A few of these initiatives include establishing and supporting a research information management system, or RIM. We use Pure at our campus. Engaging in outreach about open access and funder mandates, including doing an increased push for using our institutional repository, and using metrics from Pure, Scopus, Web of Science, and journal publication reports to support researchers in their tenure and promotion process. And then a big push from the libraries has also been to establish really close relationships with the Office of Research on several fronts. So while the libraries were making significant progress towards these efforts, they were happening ad hoc and taking up a lot of time in people's daily routines that wasn't necessarily accounted for. So basically these new thrust areas needed more attention, but they lacked the coordination and designated people to champion them. I wanted to say a special thanks. Throughout this process, we've been very thankful for the guidance of our Associate Dean for Research and Scholarship, Scott Warren, and our Head of Collections and Research Services, Annie Rao. They spearheaded many of the initiatives that I mentioned and also had the vision and drive to push for formalizing activities around research services, and that eventually led to the creation of our team. Next slide, please. So this is an org chart of the library's Department of Research and Scholarship. And the research impact team is kind of Anita and Stephanie are also we're all part of the team. So our team is made up of 4 subject librarians, and our group is now one of 4 teams within the department, including another team, Digital and Open Scholarship, which is, again, heavily focused on supporting research. And we collaborate really closely with that team in particular. Next slide, please. So initially, the research impact team was charged with supporting existing services covered by subject librarians in the department. And some of these services include co-managing, further developing and doing outreach and programming around our RIM system experts at Syracuse. We were responsible for creating the next generation of the Research Metrics Challenge. This is a series of activities designed to help researchers maximize their visibility and impact, the impact of their works. And this was based on the work of several other libraries that we adapted. We're tasked with being responsible for managing resources and guides dedicated to research metrics and setting up researcher profiles like ORCID. and collaborating with the Office of Research and Proposal Development Specialists on campus to help researchers find funding opportunities and navigate the grants process. That's a big piece of what we do. And we also provide guidance on systematic reviews and other types of evidence synthesis, which is kind of a whole nother area, but something that Anita and I had been kind of heavily involved with, and Brenna to some degree prior to formation of the team. In addition to the large kind of overarching charge of the team is to support the research enterprise at the university and work towards enhancing the university's research reputation. Very lofty goals. Next slide, please. I'm just going to go through really quickly a little bit of how our team came together this year. We started off in a pandemic, like right after the pandemic started. So it was, we've all transitioned well, I think, but it was, you know, for everybody a tough year. So our team set off on our journey during the early stages of the pandemic, like I mentioned. We were provided with kind of a vague notion of the services we'd be covering and broad goals, as I mentioned before. And although we'd already been doing some of these things, we had a lot of work ahead of us to coordinate services and understand how the things we were doing actually aligned with the larger university's research priorities. And we also need to bring individuals on our team up to speed on different research impact related concepts and tools. So each of us kind of brought in our own skill sets. So meshing them together has been a big thing. So how did we do this? First, we established basics, obviously like weekly team meetings and shared workspaces. And I'll note that it was especially helpful this year to do this some of the collaborative work in our team time and our team meetings so that we didn't overtask everybody with extra time for projects. We engaged in several rounds of individual and team visioning activities where we literally made flow charts and outlined things like who our constituents were. And then we did a lot of sharing. One of particular note was that we did the Clifton Strengths Finder activity where we identified our strengths and learned about each other as a team. And then we also tackled things like a mission statement and developed short and long-term goals and developed services for different user groups such as untenured faculty. And another important aspect was thinking about leveraging our expertise in campus relationships as subject librarians, and specifically where our competencies were as a team and then how those related to the other subject librarians in the department and where kind of the pass-off point was. And Brenna's going to talk to you about the subject librarian aspect. Thanks.
Thanks, Emily. Hi, I'm Brenna Helmstutler, librarian for the School of Information Studies. Before I discuss our strengths as liaison librarians in regards to research impact, I'd like to create some context by briefly reviewing the liaison librarian roles. And these listed here are responsibilities with our assigned academic departments. We conduct specialized instruction and collection development, and we believe that the last two responsibilities here, research consultations and outreach marketing and engagement, are essential components in supporting research impact initiatives. We are experienced with managing the workflow of a consultation and knowing how and when to market services to create interest based on a particular need. We also have varying research impact experience within our team before it was formed, which enables us to share and develop competencies together in the spirit of collaboration. Our departmental liaison expertise, knowledge of research needs, and connections made as a result of the outreach marketing and engagement we regularly do within our department supports the initiatives we have as a team to work across campus. So this is a sort of a little bit more specific view of our academic departmental areas of responsibility, which are, as you can see, within the health sciences, social sciences, and sciences disciplines. In addition to our strengths, it is essential to collaborate with our liaison librarian colleagues to keep them informed and knowledgeable, and also seek their expertise as we work with departments outside of ours. We have conducted workshops in a train-the-trainer format. We also piloted a research metrics challenge with them, as Emily mentioned earlier, and they are included in queries and meetings we hold with faculty, students, or staff from their subject areas. The team also collaborates with units on campus who interface with faculty and department, school, and college administrators. To date, most of our collaborations and discussions have occurred within the units in the Office of Research. Emily and I have met with institutional research to discuss how their work in university rankings informs our initiatives with faculty research reputation and productivity. As research impact lead, Emily is part of a group of research and proposal directors representing schools and colleges across campus. So that informs a lot of what we do or work on as well. Proposal support services has been a robust source of collaboration as they co-manage experts at Syracuse with the libraries, as Emily mentioned earlier. In regards to the library's role in supporting experts, I supervised a graduate student employee who initially started off with conducting mainly experts project, but that experts project has evolved into research impact team projects as well as we have gone further with our planning. And with her help, we created a research guide for experts profile management. Some of the projects that have been accomplished include development of a reporting knowledge base, setting up an institute and experts, and we created API access using experts data to populate equipment information on a department website. Profiles were also created and populated for a department in the humanities. We plan to build on these projects as we continue our collaborative efforts and further develop our strengths as a team. Next, Anita will further discuss our outreach, education, and marketing initiatives.
Thanks, Brenna. Hi, I'm Anita Kuiken, librarian to Falk College of Sport and Human Dynamics. I liaise to disciplines in the social sciences and health sciences. As Brenna mentioned, with experts, the research impact team has harnessed the work that liaison librarians had previously participated in across the research impact spectrum to further develop our knowledge base and educational programming for both inside and outside SU libraries. To promote our work as we develop and keep conversations going across campus beyond the established partnerships that Brenna mentioned, we collaborated with our marketing and communications department to create and execute a baseline marketing strategy for the first year. In effect, knowledge development, programming, outreach, and promotion happen simultaneously in a we're building the plane as we fly kind of way. Next slide. One of our first steps in developing a baseline marketing strategy involved harnessing a previously developed asset, our version of the Research Metrics Challenge that both Brenna and Emily had mentioned. Because COVID quarantining presented serious challenges for all of us in spring 2020, the Research Impact Team edited the Research Metrics Challenge to be self-paced, added COVID-related content, and had our marketing team re-promote that program. Once we defined our team services, we created a research services webpage in collaboration with our digital and opening scholarship team, because some of the work that we do with data and open access overlaps with the work that they do. Together, we structured our services alongside the research process, highlighting specific services at each step of the way. To field questions from the campus community, we created a team email box and rotation schedule for further support. Additionally, we developed a social media campaign to be utilized by our marketing department. This included collecting unusable hashtags and a series of pre-developed posts that could be used as marketing self-fit. And lastly, we're in the midst of creating a research impact team video that will promote our services to faculty over the summer months. Next slide. Marketing and educational programming go hand in hand. We created a marketing strategy, but at the end of the day, you need to have something to market. I'll be talking about things we did in the first year, and then I'll turn things over to my colleague Steph, who will share what's in store for the future. As I mentioned earlier, we've repackaged and updated our Research Metrics Challenge to be used independently. We sought opportunities to start articulating what it is that we do as a research impact team. Whether it was by design or happenstance, we're not really sure, because some of us are new and maybe just a little apprehensive about talking about out loud about all of this. We first presented internally and informally to students in our iScholars program. And the iScholars the iScholars are iSchool graduate students who work in the libraries to help us deliver information literacy sessions to undergraduate students across campus. Next, we developed and presented for our Learn at Syracuse University Libraries program, a series of information literacy workshops designed to reach students and faculty outside the curriculum. Our session, titled Researcher Profiles, Metrics, and More with the library's Research Impact Team, targeted grad students and faculty interested in joining us in conversation around our research impact services. Topics like open access, research metrics, researcher profiles, and grant searching were discussed in particular. Since then, our conversations have gained momentum. We find ourselves reaching more audiences about finding funding opportunities, educating on topics and research reputation, and guiding faculty in choosing the right journal to publish their manuscript. In the near term, we are excited to be turning our focus toward the humanities as we present to our Language, Literature, and Linguistics Department and the Associate Dean of Research of Arts and Sciences about humanities-focused research metrics and reputation management. It is our hope that this sustained low-intensity mix of outreach and programming will fuel interest in the programming and activities we envision for the future. My colleague Steph will let you know more about that. So take it away, Steph.
Thanks, Anita. I'm Steph McReynolds, Business Management Entrepreneurship Librarian. Our team has several exciting plans for the future. We plan to take what we know, what we're learning from our conversations to develop guides such as a Social Sciences and Humanities Research Metrics Guide and Systematic Reviews Guide. I plan to develop a responsible research assessment guide. I hope that responsible research assessment becomes what we do in all of our research impact work. I'm also planning to help grow my own and our teams as well as other liaison librarians' understanding of how responsible research assessment relates to equity, diversity, accessibility, and inclusion. And I think that responsible research assessment may help to further efforts to create a more equitable and inclusive research community, which is really important. Next slide. So the reports Emily and Brenna have been creating for the BioInspire Institute will form the basis for standardized reports that we can create for clusters, institutes, departments, etc. We'll offer custom reporting services as well. Further down the line, we plan to identify and report on trends in research productivity and collaboration across our campus. And we've begun discussions to better understand the benchmarks that are currently used to compare SU to peer institutions. We hope to develop reporting in this area too. Our reporting services are likely to become increasingly relevant to researchers and to our fellow liaison librarians as the university recently rolled out a new faculty reporting form that includes a research metrics requirement, and the university is currently considering a new faculty reporting system. Next slide. So Anita already covered the education outreach efforts we've been working on. We'll continue to build upon these efforts. Our goal here is to work towards standardization and reproducibility as a way to make good use of our time while also broadening our reach. We plan to create sessions that can be recorded and shared or adapted by liaison librarians to deliver in other settings. Keeping faculty time and schedules in mind, we hope to develop more self-paced learning like the Research Metrics Challenge that may be used independently of reaching out for one-on-one guidance. Having these ready-to-go resources will allow us to continue to put our time towards, along with our fellow liaison librarians, making connections and having conversations with researchers, departments, and schools so we can learn more about their needs and adapt our services accordingly. Next slide. In the future, we plan to deepen our understanding of research metrics and reporting needs by conducting a more formal needs assessment, which may include the following: leading faculty focus groups, conducting interviews with associate deans for research, department chairs, and so on, and gaining a better understanding of the tenure promotion requirements process and timelines at the university, school, college, and department level. All of this work and these plans will support our team's broader goal of furthering the research conducted at Syracuse University by helping researchers, departments, and schools contextualize and tell the story of their research impact. I think Emily will wrap up our talk now with just a few words.
So wanted to just leave you with our mission statement, and I'm not actually going to read it, but kind of mentioned briefly that it was influential in how we kind of worked to form our team this year, because it made us, we did a lot of reading of the library's vision and the university's vision for research, and then this helped developing this really helped tie it all together. And it gives you a little bit of a sense of kind of where we're going and what our priorities are. Next slide, please. So we know that we didn't really leave time for questions, and volunteers at the end of our session. 20 minutes went so fast. We started a little bit late, but if you have follow-up questions, please reach out to us. And we're also, again, kind of new to this community in particular. So if you just want to talk or collaborate, we'd love to chat with you. Our email is ri.team@syr.edu. Hope you all have a nice afternoon. Thanks.
Oh, that's great. Go Orangemen. That's what we'll say. Really enjoyed your talk. And we're just thinking, because you were the very last talk today, and I think going a few minutes over is not too bad. We have a few questions. So let me just pull them up here. The first one is, will you make your slides available to review? Because this attendee says, I could see our library building a functional team similar to the RIT at Syracuse. So if you are agreeable, perhaps we can figure out a way to circulate some of your slides at least, if that's okay. Do you have any comments on that?
Absolutely. We are planning to circulate our slides, and we actually are including our script in the notes of the slides as well. So you can, we went fast, so you can go back and read everything. And then, of course, we'd love to talk to you if you do start up a team. So.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much for your generosity on that one. The second question is, what percentage of your time do you spend on impact work?
It's a good question, and probably different for all of us, I'd say, and varies throughout the course of the year. For example, I probably spend 50 to 60% of my time on research impact work, but I'm also the team lead. But I know like Brenna might have a different answer because there are questions and things happening with experts at Syracuse at different times of the year that take up, a big chunk of time. Does anyone else want to answer that?
I'm already been doing some of this work as well, in the health sciences especially. So it just recognizes that time that I've already been doing in a concerted way. So that's nice. But it is a lot of time. I can't give it a percentage just yet because we're so new at this, but I think we're all in a state of learning the scope of what it is we're trying to be.
And one, please, go ahead.
I was just going to say that was a big piece of what happened when the teams were developed was this going to be, feel like an additional thing on top of our already like subject librarian roles and the jobs that we were doing. And like Anita said, that it was already a piece of that to begin with, but now we're hoping that it eases the burden for some of the other subject librarians that are focusing on things like instruction, and then we're taking more of ownership over this, so, and just kind of championing it more. So it's more of a shift in focus, I think.
And just one last question. So you said that the RIT/RIM started in 2020, and boy, that wasn't long ago at all, especially in the middle of the pandemic. What were the biggest challenges you faced to get this going so quickly?
It was, I think for me, and I would say maybe other people have different responses, but it was to figure out, we were already doing a lot of the work or some of the work, but it wasn't coordinated necessarily. So we did a lot of visioning, and like I said, literally we were doing like concept maps and things to figure out the scope of what we were doing, and then paring it down and figuring out what we should start with versus what we could tackle long term. So it was wrapping my head around that, and getting us all feeling the same way about it too was really important.
Okay. Go ahead, please, Brenna, please.
Oh, I was just going to add very quickly, our RIM system was developed in 2016 as a result of our R1 status in 2015. So in case anyone was thinking that we started our RIM system last year as well, it was actually 5 years ago, just to clarify that.
Okay.
We're good, but we're not that good.
I could add really quickly. I think one of the most interesting parts of this last year was trying to meld this team together and build trust, where we had typically worked so closely together with each other. There was a a lot of sharing and soul searching in ways that we'd never done before. So that was welcomed, and especially in this very unusual last year, to have a tighter knit group of colleagues to lean on at this time.
Right. Yes, I think we can all relate to that. Okay, those are all the questions that we have today. Thank you so much for this very interesting talk, and everybody today for all their diverse talks. I hope the weather is good in Syracuse right now, as it is here in Waterloo, and of course to all of our attendees. So I will ask Bella to bring up our panelists now, and then we can do a quick wrap up. Okay, there's Jeff, George, and Shannon. Anyways, yes, so our Orangeman team from Syracuse, thank you for your great talk. And I think you did it very well coordinated with 4 speakers, and we actually stayed pretty well in time. I also want to thank all presenters today for the excellent talks, and to all of the attendees for your time, interest, and attention today. Everybody, you really made this conference and this day one go so successfully. These talks really bring to light the importance of bibliometric tools and the experts to our research communities in general. And on behalf of my research institute, the Waterloo Institute for Nanotechnology at the University of Waterloo, we really appreciate everything that you do. We couldn't do our work without you. And on some days, like, you are my hero. Before we wrap up today, I wanted to mention that all presenters will be receiving a small thank you gift in the mail. I know some have already received it, and for the other ones, it should be arriving very shortly. Jeff is showing what most of you were able to receive. If you, a few people, we apologize, we ran out of the geese just because there was a shipment issue and shortage of supply. To all in attendance, please send us your feedback on the conference, and that would be following the link that's found on our BRIC 2021 website. And do I see it on here? Pardon me, my cursor. We will be circulating that link to everybody. That'll just let us know what worked well for you, what we think we can improve for either the days coming or for other virtual events. So today is wrapped up. We look forward to seeing you all tomorrow, our second day of the BRIC conference, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And please don't forget that you will have a new WebEx link for day 2 and then another one again for day 3. Just because that was the easier way to handle 3 different days. Anyways, on behalf of the BRIC Organizing Committee, enjoy your evening and and we hope you have a great dinner time, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye.